Hi y'all, welcome in or welcome back to Salty Tarot. We can get a little bit salty and wet here, just like the Sailor Sea. If you're new here, my readings are mostly collective love readings and I post them about once a week. Today's reading will be a collective love reading, so let's dive in and see what the energies are between you and the person in your heart right now. I did pre-shuffle a little bit, but we'll give it another little shuffle here. Things are flying. I wanted to pull an alchemy card for this, or a couple of alchemy cards, and I sort of axed that plan in the interest of time, but the card that I flipped to when I did that, when I decided not to do it, was Uranus. So Spirit, please tune me into the collective and what's going on with them and the person in their heart right now. Please guide me to the messages that they need to hear. So Uranus is the energies of, it's like electric change, whether that be genius coming in, whether that be actual electricity, like lightning. The lightning bolt is a symbol of Uranus. I have strong Uranus energies in my own astrological chart. Got 9 of Wands. Five of Wands in reverse. Two of Swords in reverse. We're using the Tarot of Mystical Moments today. We're going to get a couple more cards and then we'll get some clarifiers. Got the Magician. One last card here. Got the Lovers and it came out with the 10 of Wands in reverse. Got a clarifier for the 9 of Wands. Clarifier for the 5 of Wands in reverse. Clarifier for the 5 of Wands in reverse. Got the Hermit, I think that's in reverse. Clarifier for the 2 of Swords. Clarifier for the 2 of Swords, please, Spirit. We've got the 5 of Cups. Clarifier for the Magician. We've got the Fool. And clarifier for the, what was that? The Lovers and the 10 of Wands in reverse. We've got the 6 of Wands in reverse. Bottom of the deck, I don't quite have room for it, but we've got the Moon. Kind of sneak it. I might just put it up here. Someone in this connection has had their boundaries up, has had really strong boundaries, or has been sort of putting a bit of almost, I want to say, artificial space between you, and or has been taking sort of time to figure out what their boundaries are, maybe in a healthier manifestation of that energy. But it's caused some pain. So there's been someone who's wanted a pause, and it's caused some wounding in the connection. So that's what I'm seeing is the theme of the connection. And you are in the energies of wanting to come out of conflict. You maybe it was you who set some boundaries or has been a little bit distant in the connection, regardless whether it's you or the other person who has set these boundaries and has created that space in between you, like a bit of distance or separation. Maybe even might have been some rejection, but if so, it was rejection not let's say not from a place of necessarily warranted circumstances. What am I trying to say? Like it's not because of an unresolvable issue. It was coming out of a place of ego. So whatever that space was that one person took, it was almost like a power struggle, I want to say. Maybe a bit of a power struggle. That's not really here so much, but it looks as if it was just kind of like a maneuver rather than like a separation for actual reasons of incompatibility. I'm not seeing incompatibility. I'm seeing that there's been kind of like too much ego in the connection, and your strong desire is to come out of that place of being triggered by each other, or kind of being in that like one-upping each other kind of energies, and wanting to come out of that isolation, wanting to reconnect, perhaps even step out of a comfort zone. Yeah, and looking at, so your person is in these energies of very much feeling like there's an alignment between you. They feel like you're an energetic match for each other. They want to bring about this connection or reconnection between you. They feel like you're on the same frequency. They want to leap into that, to dive into that without holding back. They feel like it's the time, and that there's sort of nothing holding them back. They want to take that leap of faith. They want to tend the connection and bring it into fruition. They feel like there's a reason that you've been called into each other's lives, that there's some purpose to the connection. They might be feeling it quite intensely right now. They feel like there's sort of everything is aligned in order to bring this about, and they're sort of wanting to throw caution to the wind and go towards that, be all in. And so more now that I'm sort of seeing that, I think maybe you have been trying to make a decision about commitment, trying to decide what it is that you actually want, maybe even taking the space to do that. But that space has sort of caused a bit of a rift. And it looks as if, yeah, there's like a decision. Maybe you've had two different people in your energy and you're trying to decide between them. So the person that you're here about today is the one who's feeling this enthusiasm. Oh, this is art by my child. And I also, while I'm digressing, I just have to say that I've been sharing sort of the music I grew up with my children, which I do periodically. And yesterday it was New Kids on the Block. And so at the moment I have The Right Stuff stuck in my head. So maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that's the energy your person is in. Oh, 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 you've got the right stuff. Forgive my singing voice. So it's been stuck in my head this whole reading. And yeah, so it looks as if there's been like a inability to decide, or sort of in that angsty energy of having to make a choice, not being sure which is the right choice. And perhaps that's been really holding things up or causing grief in the connection, whether it's grief on your side or on your person's side. It looks just as if there's been like some regret or indecision that has caused some not great feelings. I want to say for you, I'm very much getting the strong sense for you, and maybe a feeling like you need to decide, like you need to kind of put your cards on the table or figure out what it is you want. But there's also sort of a potential here for healing, for reparations, and it looks as if your person is all about that. So that's great. And then for the outcome, we've got the Lovers. So the Lovers as an outcome is really beautiful energies, of course, and it suggests coming together. It can be having a relationship, forming that commitment. I'm being drawn to the Moon card up here, so perhaps under that is the Three of Swords in reverse, so that's interesting if there has been some heartbreak. Again, there's this sort of energy of infusing the reading of coming out of that heartbreak, being able to mend what has been broken or what has been out of alignment. And with this Moon card, we've got like some tentacles coming up from the sultry depths, and just very much a yin energy, this female looking character with very long hair sort of singing at the moon with her compatriot looks like a wolf howling at the moon. And there's, vines, the water, moon, like very feminine in nature. And so, but the moon can also be confusion or feeling like there's a lack of clarity. But I'm very much getting from this card that it's like a guided by intuition. So if you have been feeling like you're kind of stuck in your mind trying to make this choice, there's definitely a call to either you have already started the process of inviting in input from your subconscious or from your guides, if you have guides that you connect with, just sort of letting in those messages. So, things you can do to bring that about more are pay attention to your dreams, of course, with the moon here. Talk to somebody who could be a mentor or a spiritual mentor, maybe sort of whatever spiritual practices you have, lean into those. Maybe put on a YouTube video for, learn a new meditation technique or something. It doesn't really cost anything to get onto YouTube. It doesn't cost much anyway, just the cost of the internet subscription. And there was something else that I was going to say that was a little more juicy. Journaling. So keep a dream journal, of course, but there's also something you can do is free writing. So free writing is when you just continue writing until, you can tell I'm left-handed. You just continue writing until you've written yourself out, and maybe you set a timer for 10 minutes. 10 minutes is not a huge commitment. It could be 5 minutes. It could be whatever amount of time you can commit to. Same with meditation. You can start with 3 minutes. 3 minutes is a lot if you're not used to meditating on a daily basis. Doing 3 minutes of meditation, especially if you make it a daily practice, that can be, if you're putting your all into 3 minutes, then it can be more effective than, letting your mind wander with a longer meditation. So anyway, free writing, if you just write on a timer and you don't let your pen stop, you just keep going until that timer goes off or until you've written out everything that you. And, if you can't think of anything to write, then you're literally writing, like, I can't think of anything to write right now, with the goal of you're not keeping those pages. Like, the idea is to just get it out and recycle them. And, if you come out with something, like with your next great big idea, then of course maybe you want to keep those pages. But the idea is to not feel the pressure of having to keep them. They're not intended for anything other than just to sort of let things bubble up, whatever's coming through. You could do that. You could do that as a letter to your person. You could do that as a letter to yourself or your future self, or even your past self. And it just sort of lets things come up and helps clarify where you're at. And so, so we've got the Lovers, so suggesting a reconnection, a very strong bond that's like a relationship, a soulmate bond, being on the same page, being in your authentic truth with each other, walking that path together, even if you are very different. These two are obviously as different as it can get. We've got a human and a bird here, and the human has some butterfly energy happening, and the bird has a tiny hat. Must have stolen it from a snaggletooth tiger. And so then we've got the Ten of Wands in reverse. So that suggests that perhaps things have felt, maybe this connection or making a decision about the connection has felt like a burden in some way. But this suggests that it's going to just, flow really well and not feel like a burden. It's going to feel like such a relief to make that decision if that is what you choose. And of course, don't let tarot dictate your life. You're in charge of your own life. But it looks as if you go into those energies and make that choice for yourself to connect or reconnect with your person, that it will be beautiful and it will feel like a big relief for you. But just be mindful that journey may not be, getting there may not be smooth. So there might still be some work that needs to be put in. You might find that you go towards your person with the intention of reconnecting, and maybe there are things that need to be worked out. Maybe there is some healing that needs to happen, and you can't heal unless your triggers come up, right? And so if there, like people set the intention for healing sometimes and they forget that if you want to heal, then you have to deal with your stuff. So if you set the intention for healing, you're also setting the intention for your stuff to come up. If you're setting the intention for healing to happen in relationship with somebody else, then you're setting the intention for stuff to come up between you that needs to be brought up to the light, excavated, looked at, dealt with, communicated about. And so just keep in mind that open-hearted, authentic communication, not avoiding going into those triggers, avoiding holding with your triggers, and just allowing them to come up, observing them in yourself, observing them in the other, not reacting if you can see that the other person's becoming triggered, and just allowing it to happen and finding productive words. Practice your nonviolent communication, but it does look as if you're going to get there, but it might take there might be some challenges along the way. Maintain humility, stay grounded, avoid overconfidence, just bring your authenticity and your truth to the situation. And if there are potential challenges or delays, have patience with it. Don't assume that it's just never going to work. Just bring the tools, bring the resources that you have. Your person is in the energy of, it looks like, believing that you have everything you need to work through whatever needs to be worked through between you. And so hold with that energy yourself, and if you so choose, and bring that observer neutral mind to the situation. So, and then again, with that moon underneath that being the Three of Swords in reverse, it really looks like a positive, beautiful outcome with the Lovers as your outcome, and the Ten of Wands in reverse. So hope that was helpful. We're going to leave it there. Please do like, subscribe, leave a comment. You could leave something with tentacles. Put something with an emoji with tentacles into the comments. Put a little octopus. And then, yeah, please share the video and come on back for the next one. Thanks for being here. Bye.